this is Shaika, also known as Shy.
And this is Christine, also known as Schmo.
And we are Flawless.
Inspiration.
Today we want to discuss what men want and what women want as far as where we are in our current lives at this moment. And what do we expect from, what are our life goals, what are our relationship goals, and what do we want as far as, like, our relationship with our partner, or if you're single, if you're looking for a partner, we want to have a round table to talk about, what individuals want, right?
Mm-hmm. Square table.
Yes. So we have several guests, as you can see today.
So we're going to go around and introduce them.
Yes.
Well, they're going to introduce themselves.
Yes.
Fun.
Hi, I'm Jose. I'm Shy's husband.
AKA Hun.
Tyson Adams. John.
Schmo.
Damali.
And Shy.
I'm John. I'm about to be 32. I'm single. Happily single. I guess that's good to say. I'm happily single, but I'm also proudly looking.
That's weird.
So yeah, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I am Damali. Won't be telling you my age on camera. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not telling my age on camera.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm 32, and I am single.
Tyson 42, and I'm also married.
Nice.
Yes. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
So who wants to begin in the juicy, what do you guys want? Who wants to lead?
So I don't know what this lead is, but I'll just try. I'm single, and I guess my last real relationship, honestly, was probably back in May 2017. I probably ended a relationship. I know I did. Not probably. I ended a relationship, and it was really serious. It was me falling in love for the first time, and it put me through a lot. It put me, especially with love, it really made me really figure out what it really means to me. But that ended up coming in a whole or other sectors of life, not even in romance, like figuring out what love really means. So I'm glad that I went through the whole process I went through. It's been about 2 years since then, and I'm totally secure with myself. Not totally, but I'm very secure with myself and in love with myself, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm ready to attract the right thing.
I'm sorry. Did you say how long that relationship was?
Nobody's supposed to ask that, but no.
Because I heard everything else.
I became aware of who she was. The relationship was, I gotta explain a lot, because I met her in 2014 at the same job we worked at, and I liked her from the day when I met her, but I didn't talk to her. She had a man or whatever, whatnot. So fast forward all the way to 2017, I started to actually try to assertively hang out with her, and not until a few months into that I asked her to really date. But see, I have to say this, I built up, it's crazy, this is just my experience. I built up a love for her without even telling her that I liked her. From just the outside, never even, because I was already working on myself. So I was just becoming more vulnerable, and my heart was opening more up. So just from knowing who she was, I just started to feel this way about her, seriously. So I was already kind of in love with her before I even told her I liked her. So it was really weird. But long story short, we were only talking for about 2 months.
Oh,
Wow. So do you consider? So now you said it was talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were dating. Yeah.
So it was dating, and it was a serious relationship. But the real span of
not
the
even 2 months, honestly. But we probably were really dating officially for 3 weeks to a month. Yeah.
Oh, and you were in love.
Exactly.
Oh.
Wow.
So
Okay.
So why the breakup?
I was going through a lot. Yeah, that's why I say learning love was learned for me outside of romance. I was going through a lot. So I had lost my job, all types of stuff, legal problems, just a lot of stuff. A girl told me she got pregnant around that time. That was after we broke up, but it just all culminated to be a lot going on around that time. But why we broke up specifically, I just had a short temper one day, honestly. But it was just a lot I already had buried in me. Like, we both are very dramatic people, I guess.
That Gemini reared its head.
And
Wait, is a Gemini?
Okay.
He's a Gemini.
Oh, you're a Gemini? Wow.
That's why I said that. I'm
And
like,
she-
wow.
she
How did you know that?
Because he said it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I'm like, hey, she's a Gemini too.
And she was a Cancer, so that's
Mm.
worse, in my opinion. Like, that's the next on
Yeah.
the scale.
Yeah.
And we just fired at each other. Like, it was just crazy. Like, so that's why it's really important that I said I built a love for her on my own.
Yes.
Like, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was interesting because I knew she never really loved me anywhere next to as much as I loved her. So.
Oh man, damn. Well, good story though. That's awesome. But that's dope that you're like putting yourself out there and like. And I don't know. I don't think a lot of men kind of put themselves out there to say what they went through and just be honest and their truth about how they feel about certain situations.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, wow, you built a love over a period of 3 years. That's really interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that one. And like that much honesty.
From a man. From
a man. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most of the time you're just macho and you don't let yourself be vulnerable. You know what
Right. Or even be honest about why the relationship ended.
I mean? Right.
You understand?
Right. Yeah.
Like usually it's like, oh, she's just crazy and she was bugging out.
And
and she asked me a bunch of questions and then I was like, nah. And it's like, oh, so that's it, huh? Okay. Cool, I believe you. Yup.
I appreciate that, and that's really important though, like, cause you gotta, like, we talk about, or not we, but culture and people like talk about keeping it 100 and whatnot.
Yes.
You don't gotta keep it with nobody but yourself.
Yes.
That's the
part.
main part, and then everything
Yes.
else is gonna reflect. But so if I went through something with somebody, if I lie to myself about really what happened, I'm not gonna grow the best way I can.
Absolutely.
So-
That's the main
And really
part.
and truly, you could lie to everyone else, but really and truly though, you still know
You
who
can
went
never lie
down.
to yourself.
You can never really lie to yourself. You
Right.
still live with whatever it is that you did or didn't do or whatever happened to you. You're still going to live with it. So putting on a front for other people, like, what does that really do for you? Because at the end of the day,
Does nothing. It
Yeah.
hinders you because
It does.
that's
Absolutely.
we all know about, like, that transition period is so important.
Yeah.
What you just came out of, what you go through that transition period to tell you what you're ready for, what you're gonna do next. That's so important. So if you're telling yourself, and unfortunately it just happens like this when there's anger involved, oh, it ended because she's a B, ITCH, for example. What does that tell you, teach you to learn to go forward to the next person?
Right.
Look out for BITCHs. Like, it's not going to work. But if you tell yourself, oh, actually, I was going through a lot. Actually, I had a lot of stuff personally going on. I was still battling insecurity or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. Maybe I was drinking too much at the time still. You got to be honest with yourself so you can move forward. Like,
Right.
that's everything. So
I think it's easier
I
to say.
definitely try. It's
I think
it's absolutely easier to say
Yeah,
than
I
done.
mean, most
Okay.
people, when you get the point of reference where you point the finger at the other person,
yes.
because the emotions are like clouds. You
That's
can't see through them.
why.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that you can't control anybody else, what they've done,
Yep.
and how they feel about how everything went down. So the best thing
Absolutely.
you can do at that time is, I mean, a lot of energy really needs to be focused on you.
Yes.
You know, where did you fall short? Even if you have the right to say, you did this, you did that, you're wrong, you did this to me. In some way, shape, or form, we all love to be victims, especially a situation like that.
Yes.
Because now we release ourselves of a lot of responsibility what happened in the relationship. We want to feel like we are the victim. We're the ones that are hurting. We're the ones that, oh, it's your fault because I'm going through this. But you had a taste in it.
Yes.
Not to say the
It's
other
so
person had.
right, but it takes two people.
Of course it's
Yes,
synonymous.
yes.
Of course it's synonymous. You know,
Sometimes it's not like that though.
You don't think so?
Sometimes you get in a relationship where you give that person your all and they take you for granted.
oh, of course.
And-
But the point I was making was, even if that happens and you are victimized, you are the victim, you still have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Why?
there's nothing you can do about that. You can't change
Right.
them.
You're
right.
You can't change what they've done.
And that
You know what I'm
situation
saying?
is super hard.
Of course.
Where they did you dirty, but
Of
now it's
course.
time for you to look at yourself like, ironically, how did I do myself dirty?
Right, because you put yourself through
But maybe
that.
it's something within you that attracted them to begin with.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And I'm not saying that you have to, you know, and it is a tough place to be because you're looking at and I feel what you're saying,
Right.
but my thing is, you know, having all this energy towards that person is natural. You know, saying you did this, you did that, why, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. But at that point, you have to deal with your emotions about the situation.
Yeah.
And anything outside of that, you can't control.
That's true.
So you have to really work on yourself as an individual. What am I going to do? How am I going to approach this? And it also depends on the magnitude of the relationship. Are you married? How long you been there? Are there's kids around? Now there's checks and balances
Yes.
that are relative to what type of decision you're going to make going forward.
That's
You know, so
You sound like you can communicate. Your wife must be happy, man.
yeah. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
She ain't happy with me all the time.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
But that's the key in a
That's what
relationship,
flowers are for.
communication.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Like,
Brothers
what are
more
the
than
best
flowers,
parts
man.
of
Look at that.
being married? What are the best parts of being in a
It's
relationship?
the communication, honesty, and really, you know, having each other's back. You know what I mean? Sometimes she has a rough day, and I see it in her face when she come home. And I'm like, you know what, I gotta back up a little bit. You know what I mean? What can I do to make your day better? And you know, there's certain things that we do. Obviously, we get on each other's nerves, but that's relationship.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect. You know, we do things that are gonna get each other underneath each other's skins, and from there we learn from that.
Yes.
You know, what can I do to not get her mad?
Yeah.
What can I do to make the situation better? Or what can we do to make the situation better? So, you know, for us, I believe, you know, our key thing is really the communication. Because if something's on my mind that bothers me, I learned from the past relationship, like we was talking about earlier, that if you hold it inside, and then that one moment you're gonna blow up, it's gonna be worse than what you
Absolutely.
expected.
Absolutely.
Instead of be like, you know what you did that day, it bothered me. Why did you do that? As opposed to weeks go by, months go by, 3, 4, 5 things all built up. You're like, you know what? I'm tired of this BRTCH. I'm not going through this no more with her. And then here you are. And then now you're into that. What we gonna do now? It's too late. Because now instead of speaking on it, you waited,
Acted on
and
it.
it's worse.
Yeah.
You know. But for us, I think our key thing is, for me anyway, this is my personal experience because I had a bad relationship. So when I met her, my guard was always up. Because it was to a point where, you know, I talked to girls and, you know, all they wanted was the money. What can you do for me? It wasn't, what can we do for each other? So it's like, you know what? I'm not going through that. But for about a year, right? It was a year?
It was almost a year. Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
You know, because my key thing was that obviously, like anything else, you rush into situations and relationships that you don't know the person. So when you get together real quick, now you move in, like, man, I didn't know she was like this. You know what I'm saying? So now, for me, because of what I learned from the past, I took my time with her. I want to see where her head was at.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to be like, she's pretty, she's bad, but that's not what I'm all about. Because I could deal with an ugly chick as long as she's good on the inside.
I like how you did that.
You know what I'm saying?
You said it like she wasn't even here. But, you know, just, we cool. You know, like she wasn't even here. I was like, wait.
Honey smooth.
But you know, it was cool the way we met. You know, we met through a mutual friend,
Yeah.
and she was going through it too as well. She was in a 6-year relationship, and that's why I kept my guard up because I don't know where her head was at with that. So I let her be. But coincidentally, we always bumped into each other. You know, and when I got out of my relationship, I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to rush into things, so I'm gonna just go with it.
Yeah.
What happens? Start seeing each other. You know, don't get me wrong. I had my friends, just like she had hers, and I kept my options open. Put it to you like that.
Was that part of your defense at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kept my options open. Like, you know, I talked to 2 or 3 girls when I was talking to her, and she told me the same thing. You know, I'm talking to a few friends here and there, but nothing serious. So we kept it at that. But for some reason, we always stayed in touch. She will call me, I will call her. And I think I went over when she was sick one day, and she called me, and I brought over some soup.
Chicken noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, chicken noodle.
Wait, put it on the side?
You know, and then we actually sat down one day, and we just started talking. And then I asked her, I was like, so where does it stand with you and your boyfriend at the time? She's like, well, it's a rough patch, but he was on his 3rd strike. I was like, but mentally, where are you? Am I gonna get my heart broken? Should I go forward with this with you, or should I just kind of back up and let you figure out what you really want to do? And then she told me straight up, like, nah, I'm literally over this guy. You know, so I was like, you know what, I'll take the chance. I'll take the chance, and here we are. You know, been married since 08, 11 years now in May. We was together 7 years before we got married. But like I said, when we started, it was more friendship, and that's not what I had before. Before, just like, okay, you're my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, but with us, it was, all right, you know, we hung out, it was cool. Little by little, she met the family, I met hers, and
That's how it went, yeah.
and then we've been together ever since.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
But I mean, I think that the relationship really works too, because we don't stay mad at each other. Like, we legit don't stay mad at each other.
That's important.
Like,
That's
you know,
a
go to
decision,
sleep. That is a choice, though, for real. Because you could be so into your ego that you're like, oh, he did this wrong. I'm not talking
And see,
to
I
him.
think, you know, what I've
I respect
learned
that.
from honestly, from being married is, and going through different trials and tribulations, being married is really, you know, the whole, like, effective communication piece.
You have to.
Like, I'm not talking about direct communication, it's more indirect. Like, what's not said creates a perception.
Agreed.
What you not saying creates perception in his brain. What he doesn't say. So like you said it, key. And that comes down to everything. That comes down to everything. Like, anything, and then it's all about receiving it. He's, just taking y'all as an example, y'all not against each other, y'all with each other. Exactly. So he's coming at you like, listen, that bothered me. It ain't about, well, I didn't mean it, so blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, if you did that, if you felt like I meant that and this, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Now, that is working together. You know what I'm saying? And I can honestly say that's not something I operated in the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Being married. So, when you go through different situations, you just learn. Whether it's accepted or not, you just learn and you just keep on being better you. And I think part of change, because the relationships evolve. It's a person changing, and it's the acceptance of the change of the other person.
That part.
That's two parts.
Right.
Because a lot of times she could get real used to how you react. Yeah. Oh, you need to stop doing this and this and that. Now, the moment you change that, what is she used to? Whatever you did before. So now it's her job to say, okay, well, he changed, but I'm so used to him doing that. It's hard to receive what he's giving me now. You know what I'm saying? So
that's fair. Yeah. That's so true.
So, perspective on relationships. I mean, me being a single person, how can I say this? So I have my list of wants and needs, right? Like, but then I also feel like it's important to just get to know the person for who they are and what they offer, like the value that they bring to the relationship, the value that they bring to my life, and what value I bring to their life. I'm not necessarily going in with so many expectations as much as I am just trying to get to know the person. Just things like that. I think what hasn't worked for me in the past probably has been just being in a relationship with a person that doesn't really know what they want. Like coming down to the communication part, it's like so you'll be surprised. Like, so many people are not mature enough to just where you may think that it's so easy to just say what you want or what you don't want, what you don't like. It's really not that simple for a lot of people. A lot of people have no clue what it is that they want, what
A lot of
they
people don't know who they are as a person.
right. A lot of
That's the
people
problem.
don't know who they are as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and so therefore, if you don't know who you are as a person, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be in a relationship. It doesn't mean that.
Mm-hmm.
It just. But then the question becomes, do you want to grow in your relationship, or do you want to figure yourself out first before you feel like you want to be in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's important.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's how I feel about it. I've been single now for I feel like I've been single for a while, like single since 2017.
But can I ask
Because I
you?
know myself. No, I'm just kidding.
But can I ask
Yeah.
you, like, from my experience of being single, I appreciate my solitude.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you appreciate your solitude, you'll never accept someone to disturb your peace. Right?
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Like, once I see, like, sometimes from the outside looking in, a person may think that I don't give chances and stuff like that. But no, what it is that, like, I've always been a person to take time to myself and gaps in between a little relationship or just like a little talking phase, a little talking period. Things like that. I always take time for myself. There's always gaps in between because I appreciate my solitude.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like it takes time for me to learn. It takes time for me to learn what didn't work before, but then I'm always looking back at myself. What did I contribute or not contribute to this thing working or not working? And once I see riffraff, like, I'm out. Peace, deuces, because I know myself, and I know what I don't want, what I don't need. I know what's not healthy for me. So I really do. I value my peace and my alone time. Doesn't mean that I want to stay alone or be alone, because I definitely, like, that's definitely not for me. So I definitely am the relationship type, but I also know that I find value in myself, and I just won't allow anybody to just infiltrate. So. Yep, that's how I feel about that.
Well, I definitely agree with that. I appreciate my alone time too. So I was married, and I've been separated for like almost 6 years. I definitely have spoken to men in between then. I don't think I loved myself like years ago. So I was attracting people that probably didn't love themselves either. So it left me feeling incomplete. So I was unhappy, and I think that when I finally was by myself, I was able to love myself. So I'm single and open, but kind of picky. Only because I appreciate my solitude. And and my peace, more importantly. So I don't want to just be with anyone for the sake of being with someone to occupy my time. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people sacrifice what they really want just for the sake of feeling like, just because to have somebody standing there, sitting there, laying there, whatever it is. And it's like, you don't even have to go through it. Like, we have to be secure in who we are as an individual instead of feeling like we need somebody to fill a spot. Like, if you're not whole, what are you going to bring to the table in that relationship if you're not whole?
Nothing.
Like, a whole lot of nothing.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly. And if you're not whole, then you're probably attracting someone that is not whole as well.
Right. You know, usually it's who you attract. You are who you attract. You know what I mean? In some sense. And sometimes you don't even acknowledge that it's you that is lacking that need for something. You don't, because you're not taking the time to sit there and think about what you need as an individual. You know what I mean? And it's so important. So important.
Yeah, and it's also important for married people to be alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Too, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you two like to be alone and do your own thing. You don't always have to be shy, right?
Thankfully that we have her mom, and she makes that happen for us.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was telling her the other day, actually today, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that today.
One of my coworkers, and he asked me about my marriage and what do we do to kind of keep it afloat, like, keeping each other happy and
Positive, man.
and enjoying each other's company and doing things together. He's an older guy, so, and I tell him that, well, honestly, we act like we 21 all over again. We own a house, but every now and again we go rent a hotel, we go out to eat, and we go and enjoy each other while the kids are away with grandma. We'll go on little, weekend getaways. Little things. Not extravagant, because obviously we can't forget the kids, but to always rekindle.
Yeah.
Not...
Remember why you're together.
Yeah, because a lot of people,
you can get
for
distracted
me,
easy
with the experiences with guys that I've known, like friends, and the stories they tell me, the lies they gotta say to get out the house, to hang out.
Yep, I know about
You know what I mean? I feel like I don't have to do that, because all I gotta do is you get home, I can say, yeah, I've been here, but I was over here. And at the end of the day, for me, myself, I have a conscience.
Exactly.
So I feel like I don't need to lie. Because what happens? A lie becomes another lie, becomes another lie, because now you gotta keep it up. So as opposed to, you know what? I was here with XYZ, we was hanging out, we did this, we did that, and I came home.
Do you ask for permission?
I don't ask permission.
No, he doesn't ask permission at all.
Do you ask for permission?
No, I just tell him I would like to do this, that, and the third, and we make sure our schedules are open.
Do you ask for permission in your relationship?
Nah, it's not.
When you want to do something like an activity apart?
No, I think it's just respectful. I mean, part of bringing it up is knowing that they're probably not going to have a problem with it, but you're just giving them that respect to say, listen, I would like to do this, and vice versa. I believe that whole permission, that I don't believe in that permission
Because
stuff.
no one owns anyone.
Exactly, that's the thing. That
Well,
mutual,
we'll
I think that mutual respect.
We're married, but I don't own him.
No, it's definitely mutual. It's definitely mutual respect. That's what it should be. It's not like a machismo. I get what you're saying. It's not like I do what I want. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They ain't gonna tell me what to do because I do whatever I want. It's not even like that.
No.
It's just like, I love this person. Because
Her is it? She got you.
your wife is your representative.
Yes.
Your husband is your representative.
Yes.
And that's what makes those decisions to be respectful. The way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
So let me clarify permission. Let me just clarify permission. What I meant by permission, or there's probably definitions of permission, right? Because I think permission is a little bit different for everybody.
It's a harsh word.
For some people, it does sound harsh
Yeah.
because permission sounds very like juvenile. It sounds like a child asking their parent.
And I didn't take it
permission.
like that, but I know what you meant by that.
But some people though really do have to ask for permission in their relationship or in their marriage to do an activity apart, right? Like,
I see what
is
you're
it
saying.
okay? Like, it's not like, oh yeah, we're going to I don't know, so and so's bachelorette party next weekend, right? That's and so it's kind of like
that's fair.
so even though you didn't necessarily ask the question. So what I meant by permission is like you didn't necessarily ask the question by saying, hey, so and so is having a bachelorette party, a bachelor party this weekend, and I'm going. You didn't necessarily ask for permission, but what if your partner says like, no, you're not going to that? You know what I'm saying? So then it switches around the situation. Or permission can also be looked at in such a way where it's like, well, you are asking because if your partner is not okay with you doing this activity apart from the relationship, like outside of the relationship, then you just can't do it.
I would say compromise is more the word.
It's a compromise.
I get what you're saying. Permission is relative to respect. It's synonymous because you're asking. I mean, in a way, it's indirect permission. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is.
That's why I said it's regular. But
Technically.
that's why I understood what you meant when you said like permission. That's all, just permission. Like, well, damn, I'm grown. But no, I get what you're saying.
But permission in a relationship.
Absolutely, it's compromise.
And it
It's
depends
a
on the
compromise.
relationship too,
Yeah.
because there are some relationships where people are just not allowed to do,
Or-
like you really, literally have to ask for permission.
Or they're male dominant woman dominant.
That's fair too.
You know what I'm saying? Where some women, they kind of like, oh, I gotta ask my wife if I can go. And then she's like, no, you ain't going. And they're like, all right, I'm staying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
I gotta ask my man if I can go. No, you ain't going nowhere. You staying. All of a sudden, he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you have that spectrum of relationship? Then you have some in the middle where it's more like, well, listen, I feel uncomfortable with that, but I'm not going to say you can't go.
Yeah.
And in that situation now, it's almost like, She like, and then you got to understand the decision that's made. What's gonna happen after you come back? If you decide not to go.
I want to talk about what you said. I feel uncomfortable with that. Why is somebody feeling uncomfortable with their partner going out?
Well, the problem is the trust. It's a trust factor.
Exactly.
Well,
so
it could
The
be
problem is
bad.
the trust factor with that person.
It's
Or
a
what
trust
if she-
factor with that person
or what if
or
she's-
with past situations.
Yeah.
Or what she just said is, "Oh, listen, could you just stay home with me tonight? I really want to see you."
Well, that will be cute.
Okay,
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
that's fair.
This is
Yeah.
my point, that it goes back to what he said. As long as y'all go through, as long as you're communicating, everything's peachy.
Yes, because
That sounds great.
But you could be communicating and everything is not peachy because
That's
the
my point.
communication is.
it's the way you
Because
communicate.
the communication is,
I
no,
faltered in that.
I don't want you to go, or no, you can't go.
You're
Well, that's
absolutely-
communication.
So let me ask you this. I'm sorry. How do you handle past situations?
What do you mean?
Well, like I just learned to do better. For me personally, like for instance, there's been a few times where I'm like, I wait till the last minute and I'm like, oh, hon, I'm gonna go do this, and he's like, well, you didn't even tell me. That's like kind of rude, you know.
Yeah, I'm not really talking about.
That's what I'm talking. You
No.
mean talk like
You
like?
said, I thought that's a past situation, like say he didn't messed up 3-4 times.
Oh, I haven't been there.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general.
But that's what
Oh,
happens.
well,
That's where the
yeah,
permission comes in.
yeah, like that.
Well,
That's
that's fair.
more like
That's why I
permission.
feel.
Because now
I
you
feel-
on probation.
Exactly. That's
Well,
why
that's
I feel.
Probation now.
If he messed up too, and that's his third strike.
Or what if he's never messed up and you just take that on from a previous relationship? That's just a learning
Well, see,
That's fair
experience
too.
that you brought with you
That's
to a new
true.
relationship
That's true.
or to your marriage.
That's
where
true.
it's like, oh well, you know why I let my girl go out and she cheated, so now in this next relationship my girl's never going out. Yeah.
that creates a problem.
And it
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
and it sounds funny, but it really
But
does
it
happen.
does.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Like it's
that's-
a real
Nah,
thing.
like for me, for Jose to be happy, I'm gonna let him ride and rock as long as I'm respected. You can do what you gotta do because I don't want nobody telling me what I can and can't do because I like to do what I want to do as far as experience and do things separate from him because it's healthy.
Yeah.
So basically, don't
even-
expect what you're not willing to give.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm saying, so with that being said, it's like compromise. And I have a confidence enough to know that he's coming home to me, so why am I going to feel some type of way? But I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable with that.
You know why? Because it's a dangerous place to be.
In fairness, it
can't be a
is.
dangerous
Strip
place
club?
to be. No, not dangerous.
But it might be
A place-
insecurity too within the woman because you're secure.
Well, no, that's what
Right,
I'm. No, but I'm just
and
saying.
that.
They could be insecurity,
Mhm.
which obviously is the root of why you feel the way you feel.
Right,
I
right.
don't care what anybody says.
Right.
Because insecurity fuels untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Whether you're with somebody who did it to you before, or if you're still with somebody who's doing it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that's a tough place to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because now you're like this ready for what they might hit you
Yeah.
with. Who likes to be surprised?
That's
And then you
true.
get-
When
And
you
then
do
you get it
this,
with
now
the
it's like you
permission.
open. You
Yeah,
open now.
that
You put
is
them hands
true.
down, you open. So it's a really tough place. It's a courageous place to be because, like you said, you had your defenses open when y'all met. You was like, nah, listen, I've been through too much. I know how that feel. Whatever it felt, whatever you went through, like I ain't going through that again.
Yeah.
But it was courageous because look what you have now.
Yeah.
You have her, you have the kids, and everything that preceded that by that chance you took to say, listen, no matter what happened before, no matter who it was with, now I'm here and with her. This is what I have in front of me. All right, man, let's see what happens.
Yeah, but the good thing is that he took his time. And
Yeah.
I think that's what made me intrigued by it because most men didn't take their time.
Oh,
Most men
amen.
wouldn't date. They was trying to jump right in.
Yeah.
Like
Hey.
Amen.
yeah, this is like, well, you don't even know me. What? I want to have your baby. What the hell?
And that's the
You
problem.
haven't, you haven't even got there.
Yeah.
You haven't even got to that step and you what? Like, what are you
What's
talking
your middle
about?
name? I don't know.
Exactly.
Right, like
You know
why
where I
can't
come
you wait?
from?
Why can't you relax? Like,
Right.
what's gonna happen tomorrow? Are the stars gonna fall out the sky? Like
Mhm.
what's,
Right.
When
why
you're
can't we wait?
When your
Right.
emotions are
Yeah.
involved, no matter what the situation,
Mm-hmm.
you get anxious.
Mm-hmm.
You get, whatever your motive is, you get anxious.
Yeah.
The whole idea of taking your time and, letting it flow, seeing what's going to happen and communicating and see what's going to happen, we really get anxious because of,
We don't like uncertainty.
absolutely, we don't like
Yeah.
uncertainty. What if this? What
Yeah.
if
You can't
that?
overthink
Anxiety
it.
about the situation.
That's true, too.
And
You
that's
just
funny
have
you
to
say
have
that
patience.
because when we started, not once did I say what if.
Oh, wow.
That's how strongly I felt for her.
But that was based on the decision you already made.
Exactly.
So when there's no decision, that's where the anxiety comes in. Where there's that ground of I don't or this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I get what you're saying. When you was all in, you was all in.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? If listen, I'll give it a shot. If it works out, works out. If not, keep it moving.
That's dope, man.
You know what I mean?
That's dope.
I was young. I had confidence in myself. So, you know, I was like, you know what? Well, I'm going to see where it takes me. And
I know you're looking back in retrospect, you're like, man, listen, like, you got the kids, you know, you got the longevity with her, you know, everything y'all built from the bottom up.
And that's another thing, because she laid it all out.
Yeah, I wasn't
She
playing
laid it
no
all out.
games.
She's like, after 5 years, they ain't put no rock on my finger. I was like, but let's see where it goes. You know what I mean? Let's see where it goes.
Like, let's see where it goes.
You know,
I wasn't
because-
playing no games. I was very vocal from the jump. When the first day we met, I was vocal.
See, that's important.
Like, I'm not gonna be this. I'm not spreading my legs. Don't think that I'm gonna be popping babies out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Don't think that I'm this. I was
And I
like,
think-
straight up.
Realistic.
And he was still there. I was like,
And I
wow.
think that's what it was for me. Because I'm not gonna lie. You know, I mess with girls real quick. 3 days, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't give me, you know, the opportunity to know you.
Plus, they didn't make you respect me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because as quick as they gave it to me, they gave it to the next one.
Absolutely.
And
You know what I'm saying?
And we know as men, you know, any girl that you have sex with early, it's like that
Yeah.
respect factor
Yeah.
just the gold.
Yeah,
Wow, look at that.
it's true.
Listen, that's not the case
That's
all
real,
the
though.
time,
That's real.
but it's a very high percentage. You ain't looking at her like you want to wife her like crazy. You're like, man, listen, I'm alright. Okay. You wonder why they ain't getting no phone call. Like, why he ain't calling me? I'm saying, why would he? After what you part of you work for, you are. You know what I mean? It's like you gave me a year's worth of pay after the first week of work. Why would I go to work the next day?
You hear this, woman?
Why would I do that?
Got what you wanted already.
I might get beat up after this. Man.
This
Yeah.
is real.
Oh,
It's
that's real.
real.
That's
Yeah.
real right there.
Real
'Cause
talk.
women, you know what it is that women just like, they're so desperate for that love and affection that they're like, I give it to him and this and that. And that's what happens, like, unfortunately, because they don't love themselves enough and they're seeking love from you and validation from you. And they're not going to get it from you.
They're like, oh, he's gonna like me more if I just do this or whatever. Not really trusting that they're enough, just being who they are. You know,
And you know what? I think there's so many demons, for lack of better words, that people fight
Absolutely.
from just growing up,
Absolutely.
family
Agreed.
life,
Agreed.
Yeah,
and things that they never really tackled as people, men,
Yes.
men and women.
Say
Right.
it all the
You know,
time.
growing up as men, what do we taught? You know, whatever daddy tells us, whatever our friends, whatever images we see on TV, whatever influences we see mold and shape us
Yeah.
to what we think we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to operate when it comes to women. Like, what's our first, and what's modern men's first interaction with sex? It's either a nasty movie or a nasty book.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That-
Or for some men,
That
I don't
fuzzy
want
TV channel.
I don't want to dig deeper. But for some men, God forgive me if I'm scratching scabs. It's somebody messing with us.
Yeah.
A family member.
Yeah,
So we have so even with women,
Yeah.
not scratching these scabs, but it goes so
It
deeper.
does.
You get a twisted view of intimacy from a very young age.
Absolutely.
And it builds so many demons and insecurities as you get older. So you have a false sense of what intimacy and sex really are. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm talking, and every male, every female, in some aspect of what you go through in your life, and as far as your past growing up, somebody's dealing with that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And it's your job to dig and find that and try to exemplify some level of healing from it.
You have to reteach yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to
Yeah.
reteach. Yeah, and I love to say that because I feel like everything that you learn from childhood, growing up with your parents, your family, whatever the case is, I'm just saying, like, everything necessary is not always right.
Yes, agreed.
Everything that you learn from the time you were a baby till present day necessarily wasn't always right.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it was right at the time, but I think as an adult it's our responsibility to relearn and reteach ourselves new skills and new ways to communicate, new ways to handle situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to make ourselves responsible and accountable in
Oh,
that
I
sense.
say that all the time.
Absolutely.
Accountability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Doesn't
think
know how to-
facing that is tough. That's just the
I
thing.
know.
It's the work.
Yeah,
the
you
work.
gotta put in the work.
And it's just knowing how, where to start, where to go, who, you know what I mean? It's just so tough because you become so comfortable operating in a certain way, you feel like you ice skating uphill facing that.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? Now you have to face it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a level of pain
Mm-hmm.
and process people don't want to endure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've made so many, bad decisions being a man, being a father, and not perfect at a husband, but through the trials and tribulations of being married, it's just taught me so much. How to be a better man first, because it's hard if it's man first. It should be my eyes the way I look at it. Man first, husband second, father third. Sometimes we end up playing catch up depending on how that order comes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We end up molding ourselves into the right parameters based on how that happens. Not saying anybody's wrong or right, how it happens, but that's just my belief. But
Yeah, it's true.
as a man, I just feel like that fine tuning and that molding that men and women need to do.
Yes,
You
yes.
know
Hold
what I'm
on.
saying?
Yeah,
That was a good point.
No,
like,
shut up.
why are y'all single still right now specifically?
So I'm single.
And please don't just say you're really enjoying your time alone.
Let me say what the
Oh,
hell
that's
I want.
fair.
He's like, I'm tired of hearing that.
What I don't want to
We
hear.
rode that train already.
What I don't want to hear.
I don't care. So
Oh, that was a good one. I'm sorry.
No, that's a good point. I mean, hey.
That was just so funny.
hang up on the white girl. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You're joking. So why am I single? Why am I single? And then we'll go to you.
Guys.
Okay.
And then we'll go to you.
For sure.
So I'm single because, like, I think I know I'm a very passionate person, and as I get older, my tolerance for, I guess you could say, BS is very low. So I just don't want to settle and be in something for the sake of being in something, and also I'm thinking more of the lines like I have a daughter, and I don't want to just. Not that if I start dating, I would immediately bring a guy in front of my daughter, but I just want to be conscious of, like, a man that I'm dating. And honestly, I haven't really met anyone that really sparks an interest to me, to be honest. I don't really go anywhere. I work and go to school, and I'm home. I don't go clubbing.
Just like to say.
I go to Trader Joe's, so I need guys out there. Trader Joe's.
The gym.
The gym.
Well, that's-
I go to the gym.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, yeah, that's. You have a comment, Tyson?
No.
You have a comment?
What? Oh, what?
What? I mean,
These guys are cracking me up. I can't. The way he said no, like he didn't want to touch it. Like,
Yeah.
no. Mm-mm.
Oh no, okay, but what was your last point?
It wasn't juicy enough.
She hasn't
Yeah.
found anybody that really sparks
Oh,
interest.
okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
It sounds
But,
generic
okay.
to him.
Nobody.
is it
you-
generic too?
Do you feel like, or I feel like, you just tell me how you feel, that it's really important, this is really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your attitude, like, also your attitude is like your energy, your aura about relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, depending on what you went through, of course, or just depending on who you are and what you're going through in life, but definitely your last relationship, you might be, and I experience this a lot, social media has this attitude, you're scorned. You're just scorned. Like, oh, everybody is pretty dirty and grimy, and I ain't even looking at nobody because almost everybody in this world is just grimy.
That's funny they say that because me and her have these conversations, right, Christine?
It's so true.
We legit have these conversations. We
but-
actually talked about it earlier today, didn't
But,
we?
Mhm.
okay, and I'm glad.
Mhm.
And I say that's very important because, yes, you can feel that way strongly, but the irony is, I mean, first of all, start with yourself. If you believe you're a good person, there's somebody else like you out there. There actually is.
Yes.
Not just like you, but your heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That values, right? So
So
it's sad and detrimental to receiving love
Yes.
if you feel like, oh, ain't nobody, law of attraction. Oh, ain't nobody out here, ain't nobody coming to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Or,
I don't really
or
say there-
unfortunately,
No, you don't say that.
or unfortunately, if you're feeling that way, then you can attract something that you really don't even want.
Want,
or need.
yeah.
True.
My thing is it's just the audience too. Like Facebook is a platform
Oh,
for
yeah.
people to indirectly or directly get validation through,
Of course, yeah.
through a statement, through a like, through
Yeah.
an emoji.
Through
You know what I'm saying?
a layer
Yeah.
of makeup.
And that's what I'm saying. That's
I can't.
the whack part about that for me is, you could be totally wrong and people are justifying it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's
It's
true.
so
Like,
true. I hate that.
And then also the people that are liking
Mhm.
and emojiing it, or whatever. I don't know if emojiing is a
It's
is
a
a damn
thing,
word.
right?
You know, whoever's validating it for you on whatever facet, it's bad because now you're not seeing yourself and your situation for what it really is.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. You're right.
And
You got tons of people agreeing with your negative outlook on
I see
life
a lot
or
of that.
relationships
Yeah.
or whatever the
See,
case is.
Yeah.
But what's crazy though is like I think though that the people that are liking and agreeing and seconding that opinion or that notion, it's because they probably are in the same place too and
Absolutely.
feeling the same exact
And
way.
you know what? When
You
you're
know?
going through and you have a false sense
Or-
of what the situation is,
Yeah.
and you got somebody agreeing with you about what
bad.
you're told.
Birds of a feather
It's- I know,
flock
it's so
together.
bad.
That is such a venom.
It
and a
is.
poison.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because
And
you.
that's why I'm gonna be honest with you. I think God have never done is
Mhm.
whatever I'm going through in my personal life with
Mhm.
family or my marriage,
You
you
don't go
will
online.
never see it on Facebook.
Yeah, no,
I
Agreed.
don't know.
Agreed.
Personally, people
Agreed.
might know or
Right.
whatever.
Personally,
they
but
might
not-
know.
not-
but well, for
because-
what?
Because
You
half
know
the
why?
time the people up there don't even
They don't
know
care.
you.
I try
They
to
don't
keep it.
know.
I
They
try
don't
to
even
keep
know
it.
you.
That's true.
Yeah, and I try to keep it a buck with myself all the
Yeah.
time, even if it hurts. That's something I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I can be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm my own worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm wrong, oh man, it'll hurt. It hurts
Yeah.
to be wrong, but I've learned in my life, gotta look in that mirror.
Yes.
You
Yes.
gotta, because you're only gonna get better.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's accepted or not, you only get better
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
Especially as long as you do the work too, you know.
oh absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my answer. I'm getting better, baby.
What about you, Mom?
So the question was, why am I single? Is
Yeah.
that the question? Okay.
Still
Yes.
single.
Like,
You-
why?
you-
What's your
Try to
attitude
answer the
about
question.
finding love? I'll rephrase.
Oh, you can ask me that.
That's a long story. How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding.
5 in the morning.
We'll be all asleep like.
I know.
But no, my attitude on finding love, I mean, I haven't been in love, like really when I look at it, I haven't been in love in a long time. Like even that one time that I thought I was in love, I wasn't. It was just a lusty situation. So when I really have to be honest with myself, I haven't been in love with somebody, like another person, since 2013. And we are in 2019. So that's a long ass time. So my attitude, and I know how I am when I'm in a relationship, like I'm all in. My attitude about love, especially like in the last like sort of situations that I've been in, I'm just kind of like, like I'm just very like, like and it's not because of anybody else. It's because of myself. Like I just feel like I need to change my attitude about a lot of things too. You know, I want to be a different person. Like while I think that I'm so great and have a lot of value to add to a relationship and add to someone else's life, I do want to be a different kind of person. There's a new me. There's a new something that I want to bring to a relationship. I feel like there's just certain things that I would want to change and improve about myself, and I feel like that takes time.
Yeah.
So while I am willing to grow in a relationship, I also feel like right now, like the way I feel about it, I'm just not ready. I'm just not. if I really have to be honest with myself, I'm just not ready.
That's fair.
And that's just how I feel about it. Because
Did you ever
I
be
take
ready?
love. I'm sorry,
Did
what?
you ever be ready?
I mean, I was always ready. But now today, Damali 2019, I'm just not ready. Or at least in this present moment, I'm not ready.
You don't think you'd get caught off guard?
I could possibly get caught off guard, and that would probably be the best situation. I'm
That's
not.
why I asked that.
Yeah, that would be the best situation. Is if you know, love just happened to me and just fell in my lap one day. Like that would be awesome. But I've never been one to seek relationships. Like, where is he? Is he out there? You know, let me go
she's
find him.
not, yeah.
Like, no, I'm very much.
Yes.
I'm very much laid back, and I let things come, and I believe in relationships and love being organic because I take it seriously. I take it very, very seriously. You know, because it's my life. Like, I want my next relationship to be one that lasts forever. I want to get married. I want to get into the next phase of my life, and I'm definitely not going to get into the next phase of my life with somebody who does not take it as seriously as I do, or who does not value themselves and just wants to be in something just because, oh, it's about that time, or you know, or because of whatever situation, or just trying to fill a void, or whatever the case is. Like that's not my outlook on life, love, and relationships, and I definitely would never want to be with someone like that. And so I take my time, taking my time, and yeah. So that's how I felt about that. I think that sums it up.
I like that answer.
That was great. That was really great. I really appreciate that. It was really humble, and like I was, when you were talking, I'm like, wow, I never heard nobody respond to it like that. Like, but anyways, I got a lot of questions about that, but we'll have another session. Hopefully, we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. I think this is a good thing with relationships. You have to have a good sense of humor. You have to. I'm a nut, and I know Jose's like this girl, but
They're all like,
all the men are like,
Exactly. Don't be so uptight.
y'all look, yeah.
It's funny, laugh. But I'm serious about my turkey baster. I'm dead ass.
Where's the sperm coming from?
So you just want a kid? Is it what you're saying? You really want a child? Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that. You
Yeah.
should.
No, your tongue has power though, so speak it. Like honestly.
Yeah. Speak it, but be ready for that.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I said be ready.
It's spoke.
Be all the way ready.
That's the difference with
Be ready for the man that come along with that kid. That's what we talking about.
Yeah, right? Oh my
Turkey
Lord.
baster.
But see, if I have the turkey baster,
You don't need the man.
got it worked out.
That's what she's thinking. That's what she says. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's hard work taking care of these kids.
Yeah, I don't know
But how
about
many
that.
people do we know that are married and in relationships and still end up taking care of their kids by themselves? I'm just saying.
and then be
Not saying I want to be one of them.
and
I'm
be
just
hella
saying.
stressed the fuck out and miserable and unhappy and all that good stuff. Yeah.
And then you have it the other way around too. The people that are married and miserable, handling everything or whatever the case is. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you are.
I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Just because you have a partner means nothing.
Exactly. It's the quality of the.
of a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of that. That's why you need to make sure that when you choose that partner that you fully got a good handle on getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
And vocalizing it. Because sometimes, I love you, hun, but sometimes men just don't know. You gotta give them direction.
Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta give them direction.
Yeah.
And you can't just assume.
Start something.
Now, I'm not starting anything because we've talked about this.
Me. No,
Oh.
Nah.
You know,
I'm just saying.
No, it
Like-
like tastefully.
See, and that's why when you get
Yeah.
your turkey baster,
You know.
eliminates a lot of.
No, I don't know.
No, you're right. But guess what? I guess
I just
I retract
think-
what I said because
You think
you weren't coming at me like y'all perfect.
right?
Yeah, so you
right,
good.
right. Because at the end of the day, like, there's some situations that we've been in personally or whatever that it's like, oh my god, I feel like I'm doing all myself. But then he's like, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's really not his fault to read my mind. But I'm getting angry with him and I'm expecting him to know. And it's like, Shaika, if you don't vocalize certain things. You know, I'm expecting him to see what I'm going through and just offer it up. You know what I mean?
So uncommunicated expectations.
That part, yeah. Like, we communicate with most things, but when it comes to, for me, I'm very independent. I've always been that way, so it's hard to let go of certain things. So I think that that's an internal issue with me.
So do you think you cover all bases with him when it comes to his expectation?
I probably don't. More than likely, I mean, we talk about those things.
No, I hear you,
I'm
yeah.
sure I don't. You know, but I try, and I know he tries. You know what I mean? Like, we're not perfect. No one is ever perfect. But I know for me personally, I learned that a lot of my issue is, but I think that it has to do with past experiences or whatever. Like, I feel I have to control everything, so I put it all on myself, and then I get mad when the person doesn't offer, and it's just like, that's not fair. You know what I mean?
Well, what's part of
and it's not even with just my husband; it's with most people.
So do you own part of your enabling that situation?
Oh, well, yeah, because people, my sister Nakia, she's like, well, how do you expect him to just know to do this when you just take on everything? Like, come on now. Because then sometimes people get used to you just taking on everything and you acting like you're Superwoman. So they're like, she got this.
Yeah.
And they're not going to think like, okay, it's overwhelming for the person. You know what I mean?
And it grows on them.
Yes. And I'm sure there's...
They can start to feel some type of way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
It can be.
I don't know.
You know
like,
what I
does that
mean?
make you feel some type of way sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because this, I'm thinking of doing this, I'm thinking of doing that, then we're on the same page. But when you're doing everything on your own, how do you expect me to know that?
Now, let me just chime in. Is when you bring up things, how's it accepted? Is it like, okay, let's do that? Or is it like, no.
No, we pretty much come to, like, well, I was thinking about this, but I'll hear you out. And if it comes down to be that better way that way, then we could do it that way. You know, it's not like we bump heads because obviously, you know, she'd be like, oh, okay, we do this, so we could do it like that. I'm like, why don't we just do it like this?
And just so you know, for the sake of the argument, I'm not dissecting your relationship, not like that.
No, but it's a good point.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm saying
because sometimes
I'm making a lot of questions I'm making relative to my own. Because this is helpful for me. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like you said, there's an expectation that's not communicated.
Yes.
And then like you said, that motivation to say, let me go here and take this, do that, do this and that. He might sit back and be like, okay, she got it. And I've done that. You know, just and then sometimes women could be like, oh, well, why don't we do this? Oh no, I don't want to do that. So now he's just like, well, you know what? I already asked, so let her rock out. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I don't do that
you
because
got it,
right.
you know?
But I purposely don't do that because I know that if I do that, then he's not gonna offer up the help.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes I honestly don't think. I think that it has a lot to do with his upbringing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I always was very independent. I had to do a lot of things for myself at a young age. The way he grew up, he was kind of catered to. So with that being said, I'm not saying that there's any wrong or right way to do things, but sometimes you unconsciously bring in how you were raised.
Oh, yeah.
So if you getting everything served to you in a silver platter, you know what I mean? You're just gonna be used to that.
I'm
you know what I mean?
Proud of that.
Right?
So
you know.
Oh, I wanted to ask a question because, or bring this back up because I brought this up in the beginning, but I don't think anybody ever answered it. I'm curious to know, how does everybody handle their expectations not being met in a relationship? Like how do you get through it? Because I feel like that's where I struggle.
Yeah.
That's where I struggle. Like when my expectations are not being met, I'm like, bye. Bye. Like I'm very much like bye. But that's how I am. But it's because I'm used to my expectations being met. Yeah. So when my expectations are not being met, I can kind of come off like a brat. Yeah. You know, and that's definitely not my intention because I'm better than that. But I'm not better than that.
For me, the thing is that it goes right back to the communicating.
Okay.
Babe, you know
because
what?
he did say something to me.
You know, you was home all week, and then her thing is, but I've been doing this, but I've been doing that, I've been running around, I've been taking care of this, I've been taking care of
that. So she's justifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? I understand, but at the same time, why can't you meet me halfway? So if you know I'm working all day, you're not working. Yeah, you're working, doing things here. Physically, I'm tired.
But why didn't you make the time for that?
Exactly. Like I'm getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I come home 4 or 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm picking up well, obviously at that time the kids were off, but usually my routine is I got to work. I pick up the kids, sit at the table, do their homework. Tuesdays, take down to the karate. You know, and this is my everyday routine with my kids. But then she has her emotional breakdown, and then here comes her attitude. It's a problem. But yet, I do it, and
It's a problem.
So all you do is just communicate your frustration, and then
yes.
that's it.
Until the next time it happens.
Something else that's
Well-
coming up to me is you gotta humble yourself.
Yes.
Everybody knows you gotta be open to hear something about
Of course.
yourself.
How many
You have
times?
to.
You do.
You
You
have
do.
to. So in your example or your question, you also could use some humbling that you might not be satisfying whoever else to the T or to whatever.
But what's crazy though is
Yeah.
that I wish somebody would tell me. You understand what I'm saying?
you
Like
tell them?
hell yeah, I'm very vocal.
No, that's really what it's all about.
That is what about.
And I'm glad that you asked that, right? So here's the thing. In order for somebody to learn and grow, like you have to be communicated to in such a way where you're being told that something that you're doing is not right, or it's wrong, or this made me feel like this and that made me feel like that. And so I feel like in past relationships I've not been in relationships where people can articulate or communicate whatever it is that they're feeling. So I don't know if I'm doing something right or wrong. All I know is that I'm communicating how I feel, and I feel like XYZ is not happening, or I'm not seeing XYZ, and it makes me feel like this, so I'm communicating how I feel, and I'm opening up the floor, I'm opening up the door for said person to tell me whatever it is that they're missing and why they can't do it, or why they won't do it, or they're not used to it, or they just can't do it, and I'm not doing it. Say something. Give me something to work with.
Yeah.
You give me nothing to work with, and it happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So eventually I get an attitude, and it's just like, you know what? You can't communicate. You don't seem like you know what you want. So I have to, I can't keep doing this because I feel like a hamster on a wheel.
And
So I don't mind eating the slice of humble pie, but give it to me.
That's fair.
You understand?
That's fair.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're just meeting people that you shouldn't be with.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think it's checks and balances too.
Yeah.
You're gonna deal with something.
Yeah, there's
Communicate.
always gonna be.
Of course. Because guess what?
It's
You could say, well, you know what? This happened for years and years and years and years and years and years and now. Okay, what happened that was awesome and great for years and years and years and years.
And I can say that too.
So with that being said, each person's gonna have a deficiency over time.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And not to say that person has to stay and deal with it. They can just say, listen, this is too much for me. I'm sorry. You know, you gotta go, or we gotta separate, or we gotta do this, we gotta do that. You know, I just think that it takes once it's communicated, and again, it's just that gap has to be closer when it comes to what's being said and what's being done on a day-to-day. And it's not easy. It's not easy because you get tired. And it's the stuff that really aggravates you the most that you're probably so upset about.
Well,
because it is over and over and over and over again. Like
right, but then the frustration. But that's why I open up the floor to ask the question. Well, the frustration comes where if you do communicate what your wants and needs are, or you do communicate what's not working for you, and then the other person just can't come back with anything, or just it's like, okay, how do you feel?
I believe it goes back to me saying there's checks and balances. Like certain things people are going to be able to deal with and persevere through, and then you have your deal breakers.
Yes.
Your deal breakers are, listen, you know what? That I can't deal with. This is making me feel some type of way. You know what? Or you can be like, you know what? I can't change him. I'm not gonna change him at all. But guess what? There's more good than bad, or I can deal with it and give it to God, or let it be, because you know all these check marks that are not being met. Somebody gonna give you something like that. You're gonna deal with something. You're going to deal with something.
Yeah, everybody's gonna deal with something.
There's no perfect person. It's just about the other person communicating.
You're right.
Yeah, it's about communicating and you meeting
effort.
Yeah, the effort.
A lot of times you can deal with somebody not being, and then it's really understanding why. And that's part of, like, say you're in a situation
that too.
and you go, now you're like this. you can sit back and say, okay, wait a minute, did I really understand?
Right.
And that's what goes back to what I said before. How did I contribute to that?
Yeah.
How did I contribute to that? That's what I meant by seeing yourself.
Yeah.
Because if they have an issue, all you can do is, you can't help them out with that issue. They got to seek themselves.
Yeah.
You can't, even if they're so, they just don't understand what it is. You have to go back to yourself and say, listen, how did I, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you get a chance to come back together, now that's where you can just say, okay, listen, I know what I was, I know what I wasn't. In any relationship, you know what she is and you know what she's not, and vice versa. So that communication is key. Like you said, I think the biggest thing is when you have something like you said over and over and over and over, you want to see at least that they're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like I talk about this all the time. You know, at least work on it.
Yeah.
You know, some type of
Not even
progress.
trying.
Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Okay, you got a little bit of better. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're seeing what makes him great in what he is.
Yes.
That one thing or two things or three things that he's not, that you're trying to improve on, you'll stay there and stick with him. You see potential past all those deficiencies.
Plus, you gotta also, for me personally, what I had to learn is like I can't, like, just because I want him to be this or that or whatever it is, that's what I want. Is that what he wants?
Everybody's different.
You know what I mean? Like I used to be so like, oh my God, you should do this and you should do that, and I used to be hard on him. And it's just like, Shaika, just because you probably would want that for him, does he want that for himself? You know, and
who he is,
exactly,
or accept for what he's not.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So he'll either come to that, or you know what, this is just who he is, and I have to be okay with it.
It's both. It's accept him for who he is and what he's not.
Well, that's
What he's not.
Or-
That's the huge
or
thing,
don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a hard decision.
Yeah, and
Because,
it's
you
not
know-
like anything crazy, but it's like a certain aspects of him. I'm like, oh my God, you could so do this or you could so do that, but it's like, okay, he's like, oh yeah, but then it's like, well, if he's not doing it, that means that that's not what he wants right now. But I'm pushing and I'm getting angry because he's not doing what I want him to do. How is that right?
And I, you know what I think sometimes? You know, the reason a person, and I know I could be wrong. Please check me if I'm wrong. I'm sure y'all will. What a spouse or the other party's not doing, how much of it is related really to the other party?
Exactly.
And that's part of what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a you
what
thing.
It is.
It is a me thing.
It's a you thing
Yeah.
and not a that person thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
Most times it is.
Yeah.
A lot of times, whatever it is.
So is there an assist in the deficiency, or is it just something within them directly? I think sometimes it's a bit of both. It's a little bit of both. It's something they got that just is not, and then it adds to it.
Yeah.
Because you keep digging for something that's not there, you're gonna find nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know what it is themselves.
Right.
But now you add it to it. What are you doing? Go do that, and they're like, that's pressure.
Right.
Because usually situations like that, you only operate how you know how to operate.
Yeah.
So now you can't expect a dog to fly if he's never.
If you've
Flown
never
before.
flown
Never had
before.
wings.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just one of those things.
So,
He has to learn to do that over time.
Right. And how much time are you willing to
That's the
allow
biggest thing.
for that person to even get there? You know, meet
Or
that
a
expectation.
lot of times some people get wore out. Like, listen, you know what? I'm not even trying to find out if you're going to fly. Now you just keep walking. I'm good.
Yeah, I think that's me. No, I'm just kidding.
You have to have patience in a relationship.
I'm joking.
You gotta have
And it's
patience.
you know what? And it's value. It's a value system. If you value somebody truly,
Yes.
and you know things go sour or things not what they should be, or like you said, this whatever it is that you get tired of wears itself thin. It's almost like, well, you know what? Either this wonderful part of them I'm gonna hold on to and work with,
Yeah.
or this horrible part of them I'm gonna use as a reason to walk away.
Yeah, you gotta
Justify-
have to decide like
And that's
how heavy is it
Absolutely.
for you?
And that's their own personal.
What's the weight?
That's their own personal justification that they have to live with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us, guys. So just a quick thing. Ty does his thing on the side. Besides working, go ahead, Ty.
Yes, tennis teacher professional. Name of my company is North End Tennis Association. May 11th will be at 101 Glenwood Park, Glenwood Avenue, Bridgeport, Connecticut, from 2 to 4. It's a free clinic, hitting balls for autism, bringing awareness to the community. for all kids with autism. Come on down. Anybody from ages 5 all the way up to adults. We're out there. Any questions? Hit me up at North End Tennis Association Facebook page and also on Instagram. It's gonna be a great time.
And then we have Big Johnny to the right of me. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I also make music and try to entertain and enlighten people and myself. Free Thoughts with a Z at the end at Instagram. That's the main place.
All right, links will be below. And then my girl to the left.
Hi. So, shout out to my Beautiful Vision page. Currently under construction. I have a lot of really dope things coming for you guys. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and her and I are gonna collab. I'm just putting that in the atmosphere.
Okay.
Look for that.
Okay.
And then Hun is not on social media, but Hun's gonna do something in the future. I have a vision for him. We love you and appreciate you.
So
and
right about now I'm going to sleep.
we love you and appreciate you.
Yes,
and thank you so much for watching.
Peace, love, and blessings. Bye.